works on tapping on meridian endpoints in your body. Now, ironically, most of the EFT schools, they don't even tell you what meridian endpoints you're tapping on, because the idea is you don't need to know. All you need to know is when you're tapping on these points, it helps to clear any blockages in those meridians. So I guess in a way it's sort of similar to, well, I don't want to say similar to because I don't know much about acupuncture or acupressure, but they also work on meridian points. So, but to sort of give people a frame of reference, I don't know if that's helpful. But that's my understanding of EFT and how I've sort of thought about it. But yeah, I just found it so helpful and so easy to use. You don't need to know much about it. You just need to tap on the points and clear the energy. So yeah, I don't know if that helps. I feel like that was a bit warbled. Sorry.
Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. One of the questions that I had, coming up from this now, EFT is a little bit more, is it, say the words with EFT, or does the how you usually pair it with positive affirmations, or?
Yeah, look, there's lots of different ways you can do EFT. The way I was taught, you can, there's so many ways you can do it. You can tap on a feeling in your body, like you can focus simply on, if you've got a headache, you can tap on this pounding in my head, and then you can just tap on pounding in my head as a reminder as you tap through all the points, or you can say a whole phrase if you like. You can focus on feeling doubtful about myself. You can tell a story. You can write down a paragraph of what you're feeling, and you can tap as you read the story out loud. There's so many different protocols that you can use, and probably when you're working with a practitioner, they'll work out the one that's best for you. But if you look on YouTube, there's a guy, what's his name? Is it Brad Yates? Everyone's talking about Brad Yates, and he puts up these scripts where you tap through, and that model very much uses this, I deeply and completely love and accept myself, which a lot of people really resonate with. But the way I've learnt, they don't actually do that. You more focus on, okay, what am I feeling now? You actually measure that on a scale, and I'll show you. I've actually got it, an example here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it there. But you've got a scale from, is it upside down? From -10 to +10. And so when you're starting, you'd sort of say, okay, if I'm feeling a bit angry, whereabouts am I on that scale? So you pick a point. Okay, and then you choose your setup. So you choose, okay, if I'm feeling angry, I'm going to tap on feeling angry. Okay, and you go through the whole round of tapping on feeling angry. Then at the end of that, you check back on the scale. Okay, has anything shifted? So, it makes it really quite easy to know, to measure your progress, I guess. So for logical people, it can be really helpful to go, oh yeah, okay, before I was drawn to like -4 and I was feeling really, really angry, and now I'm actually feeling less angry, and I reckon I'm at a -2. And so then you can tap on feeling less angry. And then as you move up the scale, you can move from saying, okay, well now I kind of feel neutral. And when you're feeling neutral, a lot of people go, okay, well, I'm done now. I've cleared the anger. But with this model and the way that I've learned, you want to go further than that. So then we'd start tapping on positive. Okay, what do I want to feel instead of angry? I want to feel empowered. So you do a round on I'm feeling empowered, and you'd keep working up the scale until you hit a number where you feel really, energized and empowered. So it's definitely a process. It's not a quick thing, but again, I believe in using what you can when you can. So if you've got 5 minutes and you can do 5 minutes of tapping to start the clearing, awesome. If you've got an hour to sit there and tap through from beginning to end of whatever the issue is, even better. And the same with Reiki. Some Reiki's better than no Reiki.
Right.
And it's the same with anything positive in your life. Obviously, the more you put into it, the more you'll sort of get out of it. But I love that you can use what you can in that moment.
Right, so, definitely. Do you combine the two ever? Have you ever tried that?
Yeah, I do. Because I love Reiki's my number one love. Like I just, it's so powerful in terms of when I'm working with clients. It knows exactly what a person needs in their healing. A person's body will tell me very clearly and very quickly through the Reiki process what's going on, where they're stuck, and things like that. So that is my absolute number one go-to. But sometimes there are times in a session where someone needs that conscious connection, or they need to have that experience of being empowered in their own healing. And if they're not a Reiki channel, then getting them to tap through either outside of the hands-on Reiki or while I'm actually giving them Reiki can be really, really powerful, because it's when we have, when we feel empowered in our own healing, that's when often the biggest shifts will happen. So yeah, I really love bringing it in that way as well. But yeah, I certainly do singular sessions, but same with my angel cards. I tend to combine it with Reiki, because when we bring our body back to balance first, whatever the issues are we're dealing with are heaps easier to address and clear, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, definitely. So it's kind of, I love the fact that, you using Reiki, which is, such a subtle energy form sometimes, and then allowing a person to really feel that self-help of tapping at the same
Absolutely.
time.
And that was the main reason I actually decided to learn it, was because not everyone wants to come and learn Reiki, and a lot of my clients actually do go on to do their level 1, for particularly those who are really wanting to step up their self-healing and have either had depression or chronic pain or trauma, and they want that thing to take home. But it is quite a spiritual workshop, and it's 2 days and it's quite full on, and not everyone wants to go to that extent at a particular time. Whereas me saying to them, okay, now I want you to tap on these points, and if you feel like this when you get home, you can just do the same and tap on these points. It's a lot more accessible for people who are at that slightly different place in their healing journey. So yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Now you Reiki for a variety of different things. Can you tell me some of the uses? It's not only for healing or feeling better. It can also have other.
What's that? Sorry, what was the start of the question? You just dropped out there. EFT?
Oh, sorry about using Reiki
for Reiki.
Other things. Yeah, for things that aren't related to, healing. Like, for example, you've used it successfully in business.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I mean, I suppose it does all come down to healing, really. But it's when I'm working with people who are in business, often it's more. I guess the best way to explain it is we all get stuck, and when you're a entrepreneur or a solo business person, our blocks can get in the way of our success. So it's still healing, but it tends to be a little bit more specific. And often the people that I work with in business terms, they have a really high awareness in some cases of what their blocks are. So it's really so much easier when you're working with them with Reiki to clear them, because they're like, I know every time I get to this point in my income level, I sabotage. I don't know why I sabotage. I don't know what's causing it. So often, I guess the main difference is people are a lot more specific in their outcome, whereas when people are coming from a purely healing perspective, they often just know they're not feeling right, or they're feeling a bit flat, or they want to feel better. But with business, it's like there's often a particular purpose. Like people will find they're ready to launch something, but they're feeling the doubt kick in, or every time they get to a certain point, something happens in their life that sabotages it. So it's just coming from a slightly different angle, but it all comes back to healing, whether it's business related or personal. Does that sort of answer your question? I don't know if I answered that the right way. Yeah.
Because it's just a different sort of energetic block that you're helping a person to remove from their field, right?
Well, again, I think it's the same sort of energetic block. It's just coming from a different angle in terms of perception. So a person might not be coming to me because they've got, they're feeling really low and flat, but they're coming to me because they've hit a point in their business that isn't working. So it's you know, if I was to give them a Reiki, the session would probably go exactly as it would had if they'd come to me for a different intention. So it's all energy, it's all blocks. It's just playing out in different ways. For some people, it'll manifest in a physical or emotional way. For other people, it'll manifest in terms of, in how their business is flowing or not flowing. So, yeah.
Oh, okay, I understand.
Does that make sense?
So it's not. Yeah, totally. It's not only related to pain or stress or anxiety, but also to different blockages that can manifest in other areas of your life.
Yeah, well, what I generally, when I'm working with people in business, is the intentions often for clarity, focus, and empowerment, because that's what we're all wanting in terms of our business. You know, we're wanting to feel clear about what we're offering. We want to feel clear about, the direction we're heading. We want to feel focused with what we're doing. We don't want to get distracted by things throwing us off our game. And we want to feel empowered, knowing that, you know, what we have to offer is valuable and is important. And I think what can happen is, particularly because we're in such an online environment and there's often a lot of disconnection from that person-to-person contact, is that we kind of get really self-conscious, and we know we've got to put ourselves out there, but we all have that little voice inside us that sort of says, oh, but am I worth it? Do I deserve that? And I think I just love Reiki and EFT are just so powerful in clearing that. You know, it's great once you have this energetic awareness, and a lot of my clients now will ring me and say, I'm doing that thing again, can we clear it now before I get, 3 stages down the track and I'm sabotaging. I can feel that I'm blocking myself. So yeah, and look, same thing with people coming for healing. A lot of people will start to really recognize as they get used to working with their energy, they'll start to recognize those early warning signs of, hang on a minute, something's not right. And, the quicker you have that awareness and the quicker you can clear and heal it, the less time you spend in that space of disempowerment, I guess, in whatever the situation is.
Right. Oh, that makes total sense. So it's just kind of also helping a person to become to feeling those blockages in themselves too, and knowing that they can reach out for energetic support. Do you teach people how to do kind of self-care?
Yeah, I'm really big on teaching people little things they can do to have awareness around, their patterns of either self-sabotage or energy blocks. So we will often, and they'll often come up really strongly during a session. And yeah, after a few sessions, people tend to really start to recognize, oh my gosh, I never knew that when I did this before, that was me, creating a block or a sabotage or holding myself back. And that's one of the things I love most, because, people could come to me forever, but that's not helping them understand their own energy, and that's not helping them be empowered. So my goal is always to get a person to a point where they're feeling really balanced and empowered, and also being able to recognize and have those insights within themselves. And sort of, I love it when I get to that point where people are kind of checking in every, maybe 3 to 6 months and just saying, yep, need a top up, but this came up last time, and I knew. I went out, when I started to feel stuck, I went out and I got my body moving, and I did a meditation, or I did some tapping, and I didn't go downhill, or I didn't sabotage myself. So that, for me, I really love that part when people start connecting with their own empowerment, because for me, that was like the best feeling after, all the pain and suffering that I was in. To hit that point for me was like, okay, now I'm going to help other people. So hopefully, instead of being in that situation for 10 years, maybe people can kind of be in that situation for like 2 months or 12 months, or, a lot shorter time span.
Oh, wow. That's really good. That's the ultimate feeling too, is to help people to find that place where they're able to empower themselves and able to work to kind of be their own solution. I don't know if that makes any sense. Yeah.
No, it does, and I think, you know, we all need support. Like, I have monthly healing sessions myself. Like, there never comes a point, I think, where we don't need that. Like, we all need someone who's outside of the proverbial forest, you know, when you
Right.
can't see the trees for the forest. I think it's really important to have that nurturing and to have someone sort of help you when you need it. But at the same time, you know, that doesn't have to be all the time. Like, for me, the first 10 years after my accident, I was going to a health practitioner every week for treatment, you know, every single week, and no one thought to say to me at that time, oh, you know, perhaps you could do this or this to help yourself, you know. And you know what, maybe they did, but I was in such a my own loop, that I don't remember. But I think, you know, you don't want people doing that for that length of time. You want it to be, yep, once a month or once every 6 weeks, check in, have a bit of an alignment of your physical body or your energetic body, and then you go and you do what you need to do to support yourself. So I'm a big believer in that balance. It's definitely, you don't have to go it alone, but, you know, you want to have that sense of inner strength and empowerment for a good chunk of time if you can.
Yeah, I love the way you join the two, because it's really important to practice self-care. But like you said, somebody who's outside of the forest, so to speak, you know, internally processing everything, and who can, you know, kind of tell you, oh, perhaps this and that, you know, or offer you advice that you might not have been able to see through the trees, you know.
And you know that, as in, you know, for those people who are in business, you know that, you know, being in a mastermind group or being in a Facebook group with other people who are practitioners, or, you know, sometimes you do need to put that question out there, oh, help, I'm stuck here. And sometimes just having a few people go, oh, yeah, I did this or I did that, can be really empowering. And I think it's the same with our healing, you know. Sometimes you need someone else's input, and sometimes you need to follow your own guidance. So it's, yeah, definitely that balance I think is really important.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Now, there was something I was going to ask you. Do you also recommend, you know, holistic practice, or do you kind of stick with the tapping? You mentioned meditation.
Sorry, you're breaking up a little bit. So do I recommend, what sort of things do I usually recommend to people?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep. Definitely. Tapping, I recommend a lot. Mindfulness and meditation. Often when I work with people, their bodies or their energy will actually tell me what they need. So it can be very different from person to person. I am I'm kind of believe in the toolbox mentality, and that from my experience, there wasn't one thing that helped me manage my chronic pain. It was, you know, doing some exercise. It was seeing a counsellor for a while. It was, you know, doing Reiki. You know, it was such a combined effort on all fronts that's kind of how I work in practice as well. So, you know, sometimes people will have an issue and they'll say, oh, I don't really want to go on medication, but my doctor wants me to, and blah, 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 and things like that. And I'll say, well, you know, sometimes that you need to do that to get your body back into balance, and you're working on your energy and you're working on your emotional. When they all come together, then that gives yourself the best opportunity. So if a person goes to, whether it's a doctor or a naturopath or their health food shop, in addition to you know, sort of the stuff I'm giving them, I think that's great. I think you've got to look at things from a balanced perspective. I don't think there's any magic recipe that'll fix everything.
Right. But as long as they're, you know, taking inventory kind of on a holistic level, and doing what's necessary to address things on all levels, including medically, including with Western medicine.
Yeah, absolutely. People are often surprised. They're like, oh, I didn't think you'd, you know, be one for, you know, Western medicine. And the way I sort of explain it is, you know, if you break your arm, the injury might have been caused, you know, on an energetic level or a metaphysical level, or And, you know, Reiki will certainly help support your healing and boost your healing. But if your arm's broken, you have to get it reset, like, and so it can heal. So, you know, if it's a physical issue and you don't deal with it on a physical level, then, you know, you're missing part of the healing. So, yeah, I'm definitely a big advocate for looking at mind, body, and spirit from all angles and treating it as such.
Definitely. Do you have to be in the same room as another person to be able to treat them or feel an energetic imbalance?
No, not at all. I actually work a lot with people all over the world, in America, New Zealand, across the other side of Australia. With the level 2 Reiki, you actually learn the distant healing process, which means you can actually send healing to people anywhere. And that's amazing. People are often surprised that how it works and why it works and things like that. But you know, energy is energy, and when you have the techniques to tune into it, yeah, it doesn't matter whether a person's with you or somewhere else. You can still connect in with their energy, send that energy healing through, and also, you know, sort of tap into any information that they might need to know about their healing, just as you would if they were in the same room.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm having you with the people who aren't so familiar, but I do the same thing, and I've noticed too that you person's energy, no matter where they are. Do you use a proxy of any sort, like a little symbol or?
Yeah, look, it depends. If I'm at home or at the clinic, I'll often use a pillow. But I mean, I've been in a situation. I had a friend whose son was bitten really badly by a dog, and she was supposed to be meeting up with me for coffee, and I messaged her and said, you know, where are you? Are you coming? And she said, I'm actually in the ambulance. My son's been attacked by a dog. And I said, oh, okay, I'll send through some healing now. So I actually was sitting in the coffee shop, and I had my handbag on my lap, and I was using that as my proxy. And yeah, so I've done distant healing in lots of different places and emergency situations. So yeah, that's the wonderful thing. I think about it. Yeah.
Definitely. Now, you've told me, you mentioned that sometimes you have messages that come through when you're doing energetic work.
Yep.
And we have Zoon, who just arrived. Hi, welcome. So I'm just kind of saying hi. She's giving you hearts on the Periscope. So
who is that? Is it someone that I know?
I'm not sure.
I missed the name.
I think she may be. I'm not really sure, but let's see.
Okay.
Okay. You said that sometimes you have messages that come through in your sessions.
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
I think when you're tuning into someone's energy, I'll often pick things up. It'll either be words or images, and sometimes I'll get things through in a bit of a different way that's not through my own consciousness, I guess, and it feels a little bit different. And often that will be someone who's passed over, who is connected to the person who I'm giving the healing to, or it can be their guides or their guardian angels sort of stepping in, and that's a pretty special experience. It's not something that I set up. So if someone comes to me and says, oh, such and such has passed away, I'd like to connect with them, I don't actually work in that way, but I always set up the intention for my healings that if someone is receiving a healing and messages from someone who's passed is beneficial for their highest good and healing, that they're welcome to come through and share that information or guidance with me. And so yeah, it does happen, and it's quite powerful. And you know, sometimes when people are healing, it is, particularly if they're not familiar with Reiki, to get that sort of message and validation come through from someone who's passed over really validates their process. So often it helps them believe, okay, this stuff's real and it's actually going to help me and it's working, because you know, there's no way I could know some of the things that are being told to me to pass on. So yeah, so it can be quite powerful in the healing process for sure.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Because yeah, too, when you're tuning in energetic frequency, you're catching all those things in their aura. It just can be unresolved issues that have to do with who's passed on, or, and I love that you mentioned for their highest and greatest good, because sometimes the healing process hurts a little bit, but it's, oops, uh-oh, Siri, sorry. Okay, sorry. Hit a button on my iPad here. So,
okay.
Let's see. How does a person make an appointment with you? Like, what would you do to have a, you know, a session with you, or what would they need to do?
Okay, generally at the moment it's through email or through giving me a buzz on my phone. I'm actually mid process of setting up a online scheduling system, which I'm really excited about. So just tweaking that at the minute, but that's going to make it a lot easier for people, particularly my international clients. I actually had a client today, from New Zealand, and unbeknownst to me, they've just moved into daylight savings time. So, and of course I didn't check my time converter. So having that scheduling system is going to make things a lot easier to make sure I'm on the right time zone with people. So, so in the next couple of weeks, people will be able to schedule through their links through that. But in the meantime, it's just good old fashioned Facebook or emails. People tend to contact me through either of those two mediums. So,
okay, cool. And would you want to lead us a tapping session?
Sure. Just keeping in mind that, you know, when you do a proper session, we'd be tuning into exactly where you're at energetically, okay? And we'd be checking where you're at on that scale, and we'd probably be doing 2 or 3 rounds. So doing one round sort of in this forum, you might not, you know, the people who are sort of joining in might not feel a lot of difference, but you can certainly give it a go. You know, they can certainly give it a go in their own time as well, but it can be nice to see how easy it is, I guess. So perhaps we could just do one on, what could we do? Is there anyone in there that's got, you know, is it de-stressing, or does anyone want to feel energized? What's a word, perhaps, I don't know, one of your people that are listening might want to suggest? They want to feel energized, empowered, inspired. Maybe we'll do a really nice, powerful one to tap on.
I know stress is a concern for especially
Sorry?
Well, I said I think stress is always entrepreneurs, especially. It's the end of the month. Would really. That was what was the question? She got disconnected. Sorry about that, Coach Mazun. Is there any kind of issue that you would like to tap on? Revival? So, energize, or probably not resurrection.
What about empowered? Empowered's it's actually quite, or energized. Energized is a really nice one too to tap on, actually.
Yeah, thriving or feeling back to life.
Feeling back to life. Okay, wow. So the other thing is with EFT, you know, when we're working with someone one-on-one, is that it's really important to choose words that resonate with you. So I'm going to, I think, choose energize now in this moment. But for those of you that are tapping on, you can just use your own words. So if, you know, back to life connects with you, then as we're tapping through, then you just say that instead. So that's completely fine to do as well. So, yeah, should we start?
Yeah, we're tapping. So if you want to choose some words that will work out for you, and Amanda is going to show us the places that we tap and kind of how to go through the process of tapping this at home.
So
you're getting hearts and cues.
So I'm just going to show you this diagram. It sort of gives you the main points, and then I'll go through it with you. So it's top of the head, third eye, the inner eyebrow, the outer eyebrow, underneath the eye, just on that hard sort of eye socket bony part,
Right.
Then under the nose,
Uh-huh.
just under the mouth in that little dip underneath the chin.
Okay.
Then there's a little point on the collarbone.
Okay. And
So
it doesn't
we tap.
matter which side, right?
No, it doesn't matter which side. Some people like to do both sides, but either side's fine. I usually just do one side.
Okay.
Now, you might not be able to see, but there's a picture here of the hands. So you can see, for those of you that have the visual, just on the side of the thumb, if you were going to shake hands with someone, just on the side of the nail bed, on the top, as your hand is sort of out to shake hands, that's where we're tapping. And we tap on that same spot for each finger. So the thumb, then the finger, first finger, and we just work through each finger. And once we've gone through each of those, there's like the karate chop point, which is just on the side of your hand. You know, when you see Karate Kid and they're cutting those wooden boards, that's the spot we're after. And then we just come back to our heart center just with both hands. And in between tapping point, so when you're tapping, you're generally sort of tapping about 5 to 7 times, but there's no magic number. If you do 6 or if you do 8, it doesn't matter. And in between each point, you take a deep breath. And that's really important because it's the combination of, you know, what we're affirming, the fact that we're tapping on the end meridian points, and the fact that we're stopping and taking those deep breaths. So all of those things really contribute to the energy flow. And just as well to say, with EFT, sometimes you do start by tapping on the negative feeling. That doesn't mean you're affirming that into your body. A lot of people go, oh, I don't want to tap on something negative because that means I'm drawing in that negative feeling. It's really important to know that when you're tapping on the negative feeling, you're actually tapping on it to release it.
Oh, okay.
And then, so as you're tapping on a negative feeling, you're tapping to release it. And then when you feel you come to that neutral place and you start tapping, you're actually tapping to affirm the positive feeling or the feeling that you're trying to achieve. So, yeah, I don't want people to worry and think, oh, you know, I'm drawing in stuff that's negative. It's have that sort of differentiation in your mind.
Okay.
Does that sort of make sense?
Definitely. And how hard can tap? Like, should you be? It doesn't hurt, does it?
Oh no, not at all. You can just tap really, really lightly. The harder tapping doesn't mean bigger solutions or bigger outcomes. You can even just, like, some people find the tapping too obtrusive. You can actually just really gently touch that area. You can hold that point if you feel better, or you can gently rub the points if you don't feel comfortable tapping. So you just find the method that's right for you, but just generally gentle tapping, just a light tap is perfect.
And it does take a couple of for the results to obvious, right?
Yeah, and the best way to do it is to actually, pick a number. Like, for example, if you are feeling overwhelmed and you want to just do a couple of rounds on tapping, check your number first, the first round, and then check in afterwards, and you can sort of really notice the shifts in your body much more clearly. Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, let's start out with feeling more enlivened and energized.
Okay. So just taking a nice deep breath and just energized. So you can say it out loud. It's great if you can say it out loud, but it's okay if you say it to yourself.
Okay. Energized.
Feeling energized.
Feeling energized on the third eye.
Yep, third eye, and just taking that nice deep breath as well. And then moving down just to the inside eyebrow, feeling energized.
Feeling energized.
It's okay for me to feel energized.
Oh, that's a good one. It's okay for me to feel energized.
And it's safe for me to feel energized. You can even say something like that if you like. Tapping under the eye socket now, underneath, just on that hard bony bit on the top of your cheekbone. Nice deep breaths. And then down just underneath the nose, feeling energized. And just underneath the chin, again, those nice deep breaths. And you might even notice you want to move around a little bit as you're doing this, or you might sort of feel a bit of tingle in your body or a bit of warmth. It can actually be quite quickly that you feel some shifts in your energy. Feeling energized.
Feeling energized.
And then just coming down to that collarbone position.
Okay, is it on top of the collarbone or more towards the middle?
It's more towards the middle, so it's kind of, there's kind of like a little sort of dip.
Okay.
I sort of tend to tap just on the end, just near the dip, on the hard bony part. And just really remembering those deep breaths, feeling energized. And then just the side of the thumb.
Okay.
Feeling energized.
Feeling energized. Everybody's wiggling because I'm tapping along with you.
Feeling energized. Feeling energized. Some people get a bit giggly as well. Like when my little girls do this, they get really giggly once the energy starts flowing, and you're like, why am I laughing? Aside from the fact that this feels really weird to do. Feeling energized.
Feeling energized.
Enjoying that feeling of energy.
Feeling enlivened.
Feeling enlivened. That's great.
Yeah.
And then the little finger, if you're up to that. Feeling energized, feeling enlivened. Allowing myself to feel awesome.
Ooh, that's a good one. Some people really think not okay to feel okay if else isn't feeling okay, you know?
It's huge. It's a huge thing to give ourselves permission to feel empowered.
Yeah.
And just that karate chop point again, you can do it with your fingers, or you can actually do it on the other karate chop point if you like. Just nice and gently, feeling empowered, feeling enlivened.
I like that. Feeling. You're getting, me and feeling revived. So that's what the feedback is right now.
Awesome. And then bringing your hands back. Oh, sorry.
Oh, to finish up.
And to finish up, yep, just popping your hands over your heart space and just taking a really nice deep breath again. Feeling energized. And just noticing now how your body feels. I actually do feel energized even just after one round, which is great. So you can imagine, if you did 3 or 4 of those rounds, and each round only takes a couple of minutes. So you're looking at like a 6 to 8 minute commitment to just get your energy up. It could be before you get out of bed, or it could be, before you go into a meeting, or before you sit down with a client. Like most times before I do a session with a client, I'll do some tapping on de-stressing and feeling energized, as well as giving myself Reiki. So, there's so many ways you can use it, and it's so easy. And you can't do it wrong. Just tap on those points, say what you feel, focus on, for one round, try and focus on one sort of message, just so that you're being really clear. But, you can't do it wrong.
That's good then. And are there any bad side effects that can come from, like,
not that I know of. If you have a really sort of significant trauma, or you've been dealing with something really, really challenging, then that's when you probably want to maybe work with a practitioner. But just for your everyday stuff, it's it'd be unlikely to sort of trigger anything major. It's just moving energy, really. But I mean, look, I have people come for Reiki sessions that can call me the next day and say, oh, I had a really bad headache when I left, or I felt really spacey and things like that. And sometimes that can be just the clearing of you know, of the energy blockages. If something's been stuck for a while, if you think about our energy being stuck and we get that flowing again, then, you know, that's going to, flow is going to get things moving. And sometimes it can mean, you know, you get some physical side effects, but I've not experienced it in a negative way from EFT. And I haven't had that experience with clients yet, but I'd probably just stick to things that are, you know, that you feel comfortable with. And if it's big stuff, deal with it with a practitioner. It's, you know, it's EFT and Reiki are both pretty gentle healing modalities. So.
Oh, definitely. And Coach listening on Periscope said that, yeah, she felt it release some energy, and especially in her sensitive, she felt sensitive to it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So,
it's really quite, that's just after one session. So that's awesome.
Oh yeah, she says too that this would help with PTSD and post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yep. Anxiety, you know, it's fantastic. EFT and Reiki are both fantastic for anxiety. In the moment, things like you can sit there, even if you can't do all the points, you know, you can even sit there under the table and just tap, even with one hand on the finger points, you know, and sometimes that can just help keep that energy flow and bring you really down into that sort of more centered space. So, you know, it's very easy to do discreetly, at least with some of the points, which is a bonus too.
Oh, right. Yeah, definitely. Because sometimes people are in the moment and they can't, you know, you can't really do something dramatic, you know,
No.
but you still need a little bit of help getting through an interview or a stressful situation.
And the other thing is, you know, with stuff like EFT, the method that I learnt, the lady who sort of created this particular protocol, you know, her mantra is, you know, you don't have to solve it, you just have to evolve it. So if you look at any moment of doing EFT, it doesn't mean in that very moment you have to solve the major underlying issue. All you need to do is get enough relief in that moment to help you, you know, come back into some sort of balance. So it takes that pressure off going, oh gosh, I've got to spend an hour and a half, you know, tapping to try and clear this thing. Well, no, you just need to perhaps shift enough so that you can feel good enough to go out and go for a walk and get some fresh air, or, you know, so that idea of not having to solve it in that moment, but just give yourself some sort of relief. Yeah, I think it can be helpful to keep that in mind.
Definitely, definitely. And children can.
Oh, absolutely. I do it with my kids all the time.
So teaching your children how to deal with, you know, comes up in school in common situations early would be helping them out, right?
Yeah, well, it's probably not something my kids would be comfortable doing in sort of a public space, but when we've been at home and they've had issues come up, we've certainly said, okay, let's stop and do some tapping. And usually they're like, oh, I don't want to do tapping. Don't make me do any tapping. I can't be bored. I don't like it. And then I'll say, okay, look, just one round, and then we'll you know, so we'll do the one round and they'll start to feel a bit better, and I'll say, okay, let's just do one more. Okay, now we've got rid of the sad feeling, let's bring in the happy feeling. And, you know, kids, again, it doesn't take many rounds to sort of clear them, because they haven't kind of let it sink right down in there. You know, they kind of said it, I'm feeling this way, we deal with it, and it's gone. So it's often a lot quicker with kids.
Oh, that's good then. That's really good to help, you know, just being a mom and knowing that kids go through things in school and life is really, yeah, definitely. So I think we're going to wrap up. And is there anything you'd like to, any kind of thought that you'd like to leave everyone with as far as tapping or Reiki, getting a hold of you? Information, I'll get that out again. So.
No, look, I think just obviously the people that are probably listening in just want to find ways to feel empowered within their own healing. And I just encourage you to, you know, connect in with people who can give you some tools and sort of help support you in terms of, yeah, finding out your patterns and noticing when you're feeling out of balance, and I guess finding your own recipe for being in balance that works for you. And there's no right or wrong. So I'm a big believer in following your gut feeling. And if anyone has any questions, you know, sort of following this, they're most welcome to send me an email, or Facebook messaging I get a bit worried about because we've got an others folder and I often forget to check that. But yeah, email, or if they're in Australia, they're welcome to give me a buzz and touch base. More than happy to answer any sort of questions that might have come up just from today's information. But no, I don't really have anything else that I can share, I don't think.
Yeah, I know you're getting a new website built. So I just wanted to clarify, will your website still be www.inspiretherapies.com.au?
It's, yeah, www.inspirenaturaltherapies.com.au. Yeah, it's got a lot of information. It's primarily Reiki based. I haven't had an opportunity yet to add in a lot of the work I've been doing with EFT, but it's got my basic details and some basic information on there, so people can certainly have a look just to sort of get an idea of how I work and things like that if they want. But yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully in the new year having it a little bit more clearly defined with all of the things that people can sort of connect in with me about. So that's on the plans.
Okay, perfect. Well, you've done such a fabulous job of explaining everything to us, and I really want to thank you from my heart for interviewing with me today and being here and kind of working with me through experimenting with different modalities here as far as technology is concerned. So.
No, thank you. I really enjoyed it, and it's been a really great experience. So thank you for having me to chat. I really enjoyed it.
Okay, good. I'm glad too, and I know that our viewers have said thank you. So and they've sent hearts for you on Periscope.
Yeah.
So again, Amanda Freeman. She's from inspiretherapies.com.au. She's located, but she's able to work with you world. So with that, I will say, well, I don't know, we say choose here. So I hope you have a fantastic evening, and thank you again for joining us.
Thanks, Sue. I'll speak to you soon. Thanks, everyone.
And bye-bye. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. So let's see, I'm going to end this now. And I will talk to you soon, Amanda. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.